Why should you care about iOS 13? I know my Android subscribers are ready to troll the comment section already, but settle down. Settle down. Let me tell you something. There's a lot going on in iOS 13, and even if you are a fan of Android, you should know all about it. And don't worry, I'll tell you all about it right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. WWDC has come and gone and has given us some exciting new developments in the Apple ecosystem. Well, I mean, some are more exciting than others. Some are just like old things that Android has had for years. So let's talk about those first. What you would think is the most exciting announcement, which is kind of crazy to me, is dark mode. You know, dark mode. That thing we've had on Android for I don't even know how long. I've kind of lost track. But listen, I know it's taken them way too long to come out with dark mode, but the reality is it's a pretty cool feature. And quite frankly, you should be happy for them. I mean, it's cute. It's kind of cute. Not only that, swipe. You know, we've had, swipe on the keyboard where you swipe the thing. Welcome to 4 years ago. iOS, welcome. We have Kool-Aid. Listen, I don't want to make too much fun of it, but I mean, seriously, like, that stuff's been out for a long time. I don't know why it took that long to get something like swipe into the iOS ecosystem. It's very strange. It's like, what was going on over there? Perhaps the most interesting and strangest one of all of them is the tripling down on Apple Maps to actually be pretty good, but they reinvented the wheel. Here's the thing. Apple Maps now is going to include something that's very much like Street View, the thing that Google has had for years. And it's really strange because you can get Google Maps on iOS. So why is Apple spending so much money to basically reinvent the wheel here? Like, an amazing Street View, an amazing Google Earth, an amazing Google Maps is already available. You don't have to spend millions of dollars reinventing everything. The app from down up, taking cars around, taking pictures of everything, putting them in some big server and having people access it. You don't need to do that, Apple. But let's just be honest about that. They're not doing it just to be nice. They want the data. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Google Maps actually kind of keeps track of where you've been, like everywhere for the last several years. It's weird. You literally can look up the history of where you've been over the last several years. Like 2 years ago at 2:30 p.m., I was home. So the reality is Apple isn't really doing this to make a better map system or even just to be nice, to make it more native. They want data. They want to know where you're going and what you're doing. Let's just be honest about this. They may respect your privacy, doesn't mean they don't want to know about it. And I understand that in WWDC, they really talked about respecting your privacy and showing you a bunch of different ways of how they're going to do that. I get it. But literally nothing else makes sense for you to spend millions of dollars on something that already exists. You will not be able to change my mind on this. And there's a couple other things that they've added. I like that they're doing native video editing. So they're kind of doing like the photo editing, that they're doing it natively to video. Now, you could of course say that there are some certain apps on Android that do that, some phones even, that have features similar to that. But the reality is this affects all iPhones, unlike Android, where depending on which manufacturer you get, you'll get a different experience. And to that, I actually take my hat off and give them kudos. That's really a great, amazing, cool little thing. Because the thing is while you can download apps, I get it, you can download apps. Nothing beats the ability to just change or fix something without having to open up an app. Listen, I'm gonna give you props, Apple, that's a good one. And I'm gonna give Apple another prop. That whole thing about sign in by Apple, at first I thought it was terrible, and then they kind of explained it more. And sign in by Apple is doing something amazingly cool. You know those websites that like you sign in with Google or Facebook, and now they can email you whenever they want to? Well, Apple thought of that. Here's what Apple's doing. They're actually going to be able to make a virtual email address for each of those logins that will then send it to your main email, and if you want to, you can shut them off. That is brilliant. And it's things like that that actually make me wonder, maybe they do really care about our privacy, because why else would you do that? It's kind of cool and appreciated. And they're not charging you for it. It's pretty awesome. But regardless of whether or not you believe they're doing it for privacy's sake or whatever, that's neither here nor there. They've made other announcements during WWDC, including iPadOS. Now, many of you know how excited I would be about this because you know that I edit all my videos on my iPad. And while that's been a great experience, there have been some things that it's kind of been lacking. Fortunately, my buddy Greg's Gadgets has done a video about this, so I don't have to go in too much detail. You can check it out up here, and I'll probably leave a link down in the description to his channel. Greg's a great friend of mine. Go over and say hi to him. But the long and the short of it is that they're trying to make iPad a real laptop replacement, and it's really getting very close with things like mirroring and the ability to use mice and also storage, like hard drives and stuff. It's starting to get good. And they're opening up the system a little bit. It really kind of started with the USB-C on the last iPad, and now they're giving you access more to dropping and sharing files between thumb drives and other things. It's opening up in a way that iOS has never done before. iOS has always been the walled garden, but we're starting to see them open up. And this is really smart because, quite frankly, while most people are using Windows PCs and laptops and stuff like that, that's great because they're a lot less expensive. The reality is all you need is a couple of features on the iPad to really make it almost like unnecessary to need a laptop unless you're like a gamer or something like that. If you're just a normal business person who can just take an iPad with you, really quick, nice, light, fast machine, and do everything you need to do, you might do that. And the company you work for might be on board for that. Back to privacy, Apple talked about shutting down the ability for apps to use things like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to figure out more about your location. Again, showing that maybe they do care about privacy. Interestingly, I know that there's some things like that you can do on Android, but I don't remember ever hearing something so very specific about kind of protecting your privacy in that way. Now here's the good news. Regardless of whether or not you like Apple or own an Apple product, this changes the bar a little bit and kind of moves it up. That means that Google is going to look at the things that Apple is making, see what people think of them, and if largely they're possible to do on Android, do them. So why wouldn't they? Like login with Google, why can't you do the email thing that Apple's doing? I use login for Google quite a bit. Do the email thing so I don't get the spammy things. And add some of those really cool editing features in the native Android. Like, why can't we have native support for like real video editing and real picture editing? They're doing some pretty amazing things over there in Apple. Why can't we have that in Android? The cool thing is this update will also support all the way back to the iPhone 6S. Now, some of you may have seen my really amazingly awesome iPhone 6S video. You might want to check that out. I'll probably put it in the end screen, so make sure you check that out. So you get support for a lot of this stuff too, but what you'll normally find is some of the features don't work on the really old stuff, but the iPhone XR, which I bought and I have, will get access to pretty much all this stuff, including things like the new animojis and the stuff that I don't care about. Finally, they're doing things like faster face unlock, a faster pen experience for the Apple Pencil, and even faster app launch just across the operating system, which is pretty amazing. These are things that we're not specifically asking for, but we're getting. Apple's really thinking about the experience. I will give them that. They really, really think about the customer experience. Again, like them or not, you gotta hand that to them. And again, doesn't matter if you like Android, if you like Apple, this is good for everybody because when Apple does something, it moves the needle. I mean, remember when they had all those notched phones in 2018 that just looked terrible? That was because of Apple. It was a design compromise, not a cool looking thing. But all those Android phones followed in tow. So I think it just makes sense to always keep an eye on what Apple's doing because inevitably the best features are going to come to Android. And you know what? Vice versa. Whenever something comes out on Android, a couple years later, it'll come out on iOS. I mean, it's usually a couple years later. Regardless, I am excited for iPadOS. I can't wait to put that on my iPad and see what I can do with it. And maybe it becomes like a real laptop replacement for me. It's almost there anyway. Adding the storage from like thumb drives and stuff may just push it over the edge. So overall, a very positive WWDC. Now, everyone seemed to really like it. What did you like? Leave it down in the comments below. Tell me what you thought was one of the best things. And maybe Apple is starting to figure it out. They're starting to open up things. They're starting to make things more customizable. They're trying to lock down privacy, allegedly. It's interesting. We're at a time now where Apple, under new leadership, is trying to figure out what people want because they know they can't just sell iPhones and make money. They've got to do it in the software, and it looks like they're really trying. So we'll see what the iPhone 11 looks like, and if it looks anything like the leaks, just keep doing the software. If this video helped out in any way, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if it didn't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'm here every single week having a blast Hope to see you again real soon. Peace and love. Peace and love. I'm gonna go set a reminder.